All right. Let's go ahead and get going. So I want to make sure you guys know me. I want to make sure. What up, Ivan? How are you, man? All right. So real quick, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Josh Pono. I've been in real estate for 15 years. First 8 years, all I did was work with all the lead gen companies. So KV Core, Boomtown, Inside Real Estate, Agent Jet, Z57, and essentially I made over 100,000 cold calls. I worked with over 1,000 real estate agents, teams, and office owners. My job before I became a active realtor selling homes was to teach agents how to generate leads and build their CRMs, their systems, and their processes so that not only could they have success, but they could then scale it out to their teams and train people. And I did that for 8 years at a super, super high level. What made me successful is I knew how to teach agents to make money with the tools rather than just selling the website or the software, the leads. I would show them actually how to use it. And so after 8 years, I was like, you know what, if I'm so good at teaching people how to sell homes, but I'm making software money versus selling real estate, then, either A, I'm unconfident, I'm scared, or B, I just got to go out and do it. And so it was a little bit of everything, making the jump over. So in 2017, I left that career and I launched my real estate career here in San Diego. I didn't have a sphere of influence my first year in real estate. I knew exactly where to go out to get into leads. I knew exactly what CRMs to use. I knew exactly how to build up my following and nurturing campaigns. And because I was really skilled in making calls, I sold 33 homes in my first year. And year two, I built a team. Year three, I got recruited to a Gary Keller top 100. I went there because he was a multiple office owner. He owned escrow, he owned mortgage, and I wanted to learn from a mentor that had done that. I did that for 3 years. And from 2019 to 2022, in 2.5 years, I sold about 100 homes. And so I now own and operate my own independent brokerage. This is my hub for everything that I'm doing, and I'm scaling it out nationwide. I have the license to open up another 24 offices. And so the stuff that I'm going to show you today is not like stuff that I was using a couple years ago. You're going to see like my fourth iteration, and the stuff that I'm going to talk to you about, you can take, you can use, you can implement, and it will work as long as you work it the correct way. And what I've learned through training a ton of different agents, and we've got 24 agents now growing and thriving. We've got 3 that committed this week, and we're in recruiting season, so we're getting a lot of agents, and we're having conversations, 7, 8 agents every single week, and we're running 3, 4, 5 different trainings every single week, and most of it is around CRMs and lead generation. We do a lot of call recording where we can actually coach and train agents on the calls, and what we learn is it's there's what we've learned through doing it for 15 years, and also what's going on in the market is that now more than ever you have to be good at what you're doing, and you have to be able to modify the approach, because a lot of people have guards against salespeople. The same way we have our scripts, they have their scripts, right? And so when we're looking at working lead gen sources, what I've found is that even the best of agents work these leads in inappropriate ways. And what I mean by inappropriate is there's a difference between order taking and there's a difference between selling. Okay. Order taking is you work at Pizza Hut, they call you, they say, I'm hungry, I need food, I didn't go to shopping, I need pizza, this is what I like, send it to me. Okay. To me, that's like a referral that has already worked with you, that's motivated, qualified, wants to work with you. Their best friend is your realtor. You're the realtor of their best friend, and they may have even gone on some showings with you when they bought the house, right? Like the leads that are already coming in, that they already know, like, and trust you. What is great about that is, hey man, they already know, like, and trust you. What's a challenge with that is you can't turn that up. What's up, Scott? Good morning. Good morning. My bad. I called you this morning, left you a voicemail. Thanks for coming. With that being said, the challenge with that in a market like ours is that there's less opportunities. And a lot of people are locked in at 3% interest rates. A lot of people don't want to go buy or upsize or downsize. And so you have to go out and hunt for the motivated. And what I found is that while we're hunting for the motivated, if we do not adjust the way we are approaching these people, it doesn't matter if they're canceled and expired, it doesn't matter if they're open house leads, internet leads, it doesn't matter what they are. If we don't change the approach, we're going to get in our own way. Okay. And so today we're going to cover three lead sources. One, we're going to talk about buyers and sellers because they're both. Two, we're going to talk about sellers, and three, we're going to talk about some social stuff. And what I intend to do is show you what we're working in those areas, and also talk to you about some of the critical metrics of success that we focus on to ensure that our agents sell more homes by using a process and a system that I know for a fact works, because I'm working it and I'm watching it work in our market. We have agents in our brokerage that have never been successful with lead gen, new agents, but they're following the system and the program, and they're selling homes, listings from Facebook, buyer leads from realtor.com, homes.com, cancel and expired all over. We're setting appointments with these people and they're closing transactions. Last month was our best month in the history of our company, and a majority of that business was coming from outside lead sources. Okay. Some of you may have already had some bad experiences with leads. Cool. So have I. Some of you guys have spent a lot of money and it didn't turn out to anything. Cool. So have I. But today we're going to get into some nitty and gritty stuff. So let me open up some things. First and foremost, buyers are really easy to get from a lead source. Okay. So there's a few different lead sources that you can tap into. And when I say easy to get, I mean, you can literally pay somebody pretty quickly to go out and generate the leads. And primarily you've got short-term money and long-term money. Okay. So whenever I'm evaluating a lead source, or whenever I'm talking about generating leads, they're not all from the same class. They're not all cut from the same cloth. Okay. So to me, a definition of a lead, because I know you're going to ask 10 agents, what's the definition of a lead? And they'll give you 9 or 10 different answers. To me, a definition of the lead is somebody that has some level of interest in buying a home at some time. Okay. Somebody that has some level of interest about buying or selling real estate at some time. Okay. Quality is dependent on a few different things. So you hear all this stuff like, what's the quality of the lead? Well, I'll tell you right now for a fact that I find certain lead sources to be an amazing quality, while other realtors, same lead source, call them trash. Okay. And so quality is dictated by a few things. Number one, in my opinion, is timeline. Obviously, if we have a lead that's ready to buy in 3 months, to me, that's a better quality than somebody's ready to buy in a year. Okay. If somebody's ready to buy right now, I'm ready to go out and look at properties, and they're ready to buy in 4 months, the person ready to buy right now, that's a better lead. Okay. The second thing that I check when I talk about lead sources is quantity of accurate information. Okay. If I have, like, so for example, on cancel and expired leads, there's 5 or 6 different main vendors. I'll talk to you about which ones. I go with the vendor that has the highest percentage of accurate information, where I know for a fact I'm going to get a name, email, and phone number. Okay. Because when I'm spending time doing lead generation, I want the highest quality of contact information. So I know I've got their cell phone, I know I got the email, I know my attempts, my effort, my energy is at least going to their voicemail or their inbox, right? There's a lot of different ways we can work them. The third thing that I look into in regards to quality is I look into the behaviors of the consumer, but more importantly, I go back into the process, right? A good sales process, a good script process, a good CRM process can increase the quality of the leads. When I was selling real estate full time, I was taking about 19 contacts, 19 conversations to set an appointment that would sit down with me. Okay. Keller Williams quotes, on average, it's 50 contacts to an appointment. In this market, it's more like 150. I know a lot of agents that do not do lead generation, because if you're taking 150 conversations to get one appointment, it's only a matter of time before you burn out. There's a misconception about me. Oh, Josh loves cold calling. No, I don't. I love making 19 phone calls and getting a $20,000 commission check. That to me, having 19 conversations, that to me is fun and it's valuable. Now, the same lead source, the same different system, another salesperson, it might take them 50. Okay. The way to get that number down so that prospecting becomes enjoyable is to drive up the efficiency and the success. People say, I hate cold calling. And I'm like, well, how much success have you had for it? They're like, none. I get rejected left and right. I'm like, well, that's why, right? So going into those categories, that's what dictates lead quality for me. And when it comes to lead generation for buyers, you've got a few different buckets. Okay. The level of their intention and their timeline can often be dictated by the lead source. So for example, portal leads, and I'm not talking about leads where, I'm not talking about leads where Zillow Flex, OpCity, Ojo, Prime Street. I'm not talking about leads where they do all the converting and then they hand it off to you and you got to go open the door before you even meet the client and they pass you on as an Uber driver doing a showing. I'm talking about buying leads from portals. So Realtor.com, Zillow, I'm pretty sure they got rid of their program, but like Realtor.com and some of these other portals, you can buy leads. We do Realtor.com leads right now. We do probably get about 20 to 30 leads a month. We're reinvesting as the returns come in. We've sold a bunch of homes for Realtor.com. They're what fit into the category of passive lead capture. Okay, passive lead capture and forced registration. The difference is, how do we collect the information? So for example, on a portal, they built a very user-friendly search. They got the consumers to come back time and time again. They got into their inbox. They created habits with the consumers from their new listing alerts and having big pictures and a lightning fast, snappy site the consumers will come back to time and time again. It never requires that you register on their website in order to use the site. So they keep people engaged through a great consumer-friendly interface. And then when those people say, I've got a question, they click on the button that says contact an agent. They then take that lead and they send it out. Those leads typically come in either what they call exclusive leads or non-exclusive leads, where they send them out to two different people. The thing about internet lead gen to understand is there is no such thing as exclusivity. These marketing companies tell you they're exclusive, and in their terms and conditions, by the definitions that they lay out, it technically could be exclusive, meaning we only send this one inquiry to one agent. But the reality is every time that one person creates another inquiry, it then becomes a new lead. So get it out of your head that there are any exclusive leads. Typically exclusive leads cost twice as much. And for me, I'm about times at bat. I want to get as many swings as possible. So when we do Realtor.com, we do their shared lead program because I already know they're going to resell the data over and over again, right? I already know. And plus, I have no challenges putting my team up against the average agent because most agents get in their own way. And I'll talk to you about that shortly. So from a quick, high producing, high quality, highest chance of motivation, Realtor.com and some of the other portal opportunities are typically the best because they engage with the consumer on the timeline for the longest before they require their information. Okay. The second thing, Google. Google's like the Google PPC or search engines, Bing, Yahoo. Those are the next step down. Those are a higher level of intent than like a Facebook or a social lead, but lower intent than somebody that is actively towards the end of their search. The reason why Google is a higher quality than Facebook, level of action, okay, intentional action. They go to Google and they type, I'm looking for San Diego homes for sale. You're not randomly like on Facebook, you see these ads where it says, hey, if you want to look at the 10 best properties in El Cajon under $1 million, click here. And it says, but if you want to look at this information, give me your information. That's forced registration, but you're catching people at just this random time where they're scrolling, they're bored, they click on it. Do they have some level of interest in real estate? Sure. Do they want to talk to a salesman? Not always. In fact, most times they don't, right? But you're catching them on. So with Google, they're intentionally going to Google. They're intentionally saying, I want to search for homes. Give me the best site. They find one of the advertising results. You click on it. It says, hey, take a look at this first property. And the moment they go to a second or a third or a fourth or a fifth, you can modify the capture. It says, gotcha. Give me your info or get off my site. Now, it's still a good lead from the intentional standpoint as long as you have a good site. How do you improve lead quality? Well, you have a great user-friendly internet search. One of the reasons why I left KV Core and moved all my stuff to Lofty is KV Core, now AKA Bold Trail. They were bought out. The company was bought out by the company that now owns Boomtown Inside Real Estate. And they have a very old technology. I don't know about you guys. I hate switching iPhones every year and paying $1,000 so I can have the latest and greatest. So I still got an iPhone 12. Pro. That thing's freaking slow now. Does it do all the functionality, 95%, 90% of what the new iPhones do? Yes. But I'm at that point where I'm about to throw this thing because it's so darn slow and it doesn't load up. And so KV Core is the iPhone 12. It was the most amazing thing at the time, but the software that they built it on is old. And so what that means is that the responsiveness to the site, the consumer's interface, yeah, you'll capture the lead, but they stay on the site. It loads up slow. It's not as user friendly. They're trying to fix it. I'm sure they will. And they're still built on old technology. And somebody say, and people will always say this, like, well, Josh, they're updating it. That's cool. If I have a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,500 square foot house with that foundation and I want to add to it, can I? Yes. Is it going to be as good as if I built a brand new foundation in a brand new house? Is it going to go together just as well? No. Can we make it work? Yes. Are you going to know? Yes. And so that's the efficiencies. Why is that important, Josh? You're giving me too much. It's important to understand because the number one reason why people come back to Zillow is a fast, good search. And so if you capture a lead on Google and they come to your site and they don't like your site, then that means they stop coming back to your site from your listings, which means you have less opportunity to capture them because you're the realtor sending them a slow website. Okay. And so anytime you advertise on Google, there's a guy by the name of Brian Short. If you're ever thinking about doing pay-per-click, call Brian Short. He's amazing. He's like the guru of Google advertising. He only does PPC. He's not cheap, but he's great. And he won't even take a KV Core site anymore because the results are so bad. So Google, though, Google is, you know, of a realtor.com lead is anywhere from 100 to 250. Google's like 20 to 30. And it's a little bit lower on the, again, short-term, long-term. And so there's that middle range. Okay. Last but not least is Facebook. And by the way, I could go into a lot of other sources and things, but from the bucket of what we're talking about, when I want to go out and get buyer opportunities of people that are motivated, you know, the main areas are Facebook, Instagram, social. You've got with ads, driving them into landing pages and doing forced registration. You've got Google and search engines, and then you've got portals. What I typically recommend for people starting out with a budget is you want to go heavier on the short-term money. You want to invest more on the higher quality leads to get the better return faster so that you can then reinvest into some more of the long term. Most of us would benefit from short-term cash. And so realtor.com, although more expensive, you want to start with something that's of higher quality so that you're also working less leads because you have a balance between I can't do 50 leads a month. I can only do 20, right? I have other stuff going on. When it comes to realtor.com, I typically recommend around 15 leads a month, which if you go to your lender and you partner up with them, it's about $750 a month in the San Diego market. In other markets, it's a lot less expensive. The pricing correlates with the average home sale. Go figure, right? Because the lead is worth more money. Realtor.com, they're not dumb. They understand and they know what people pay. So when you go to do that, you know, you might want to start off with that and then slowly add a little bit of Facebook. Almost all the companies out there offer some sort of Facebook lead generation through their portal. They'll manage it. It's cheap. The leads come in automatically and they get set up on the stuff. When you're working with the leads, you have to tailor your approach to the source, quality, timeline, etc. So for example, when we reach out to our Facebook leads, we notice, because I have a script written out where it's completely dialed in to be for the right person. I'll share it with you guys if you want. Just text Ryan. He's the one who texted everybody, letting know we're going live, but we'll share the script. And it's very much we already know you're not looking to buy today. So we eliminate the commission breath trigger words. So for example, if I were to call a Facebook lead that's 6 to 7 months out from buying, and I said, hey, I'm calling you because you just became a lead on my Facebook buyer advertising and you're looking to buy a home, their guard instantly skyrockets and they say, I'm not interested in buying a home. And then the realtor goes, man, these leads are crap. Well, no, you just walked up to an attractive person in a bar while she was talking or he was talking to their friend and was like, hey, I'm Josh. I want to have 3 kids, buy a house in Chicago, and I'd like you to marry me right now. And she's like, no, you're crazy. I don't want to talk. Don't ever talk to me again, creep. And I look up and I'm like, this establishment sucks for meeting people. No, You asked for commitment way before and you use trigger words. She just got out of a bad relationship. The last thing she wants, she just wants a friend maybe. I don't know, but you get the point, right? When we go into the Facebook leads, the first thing we tell them is like, hey, listen, I already know you're not ready to buy a home right now. So go ahead and just, it's okay. I already know you're not ready to buy. In fact, and this is in our script, in fact, most of our clients that we meet from Facebook, because we do this all the time, most of the people that we meet from Facebook, they're 6 to 7 months out from even starting. Because I know I just captured them randomly going through. I know they have some level of interest. I know they have no desire to talk to a commission breath realtor. And so I'm going to disarm all of that right out the gate. And I'm going to say, I just wanted to let you know that there's a real person behind the listings that are coming your way. I care. And I wanted to see how the home search going. When you disarm them and let them know they're in a safe space, I'm not interested in asking you to move to Chicago yet. I already know you're not trying to get married to a random stranger in a bar. I get it. Hey, how's your drink? Right? When you take that approach, then what happens is one of a couple things. They go, just browsing. Or if they are interested in buying a home, they correct us. Now, salespeople typically have a fear of being corrected, or they want to look like they have all the answers. It's okay. Let your ego know it's okay. It's fine. You can be corrected in a good environment, because they will say, hey, actually, I am looking to buy. Great. Now they just told us how to give them good service. And then we go down that road of, oh, that's incredible. How long you've been looking? When we deal with Realtor.com leads or portal leads, we don't say we're some random agent that already bought your information and we're entitled to talk to you. We say, hey, I noticed that you were interested in 123 Main Street. We are Realtor.com's preferred expert realtors for this area. And then we go right into, out of curiosity, how's the home search? We don't talk to them about their search criteria. We don't talk to them about that property, because that's not important right now. What's important is that we build trust, we show them we have value, and we approach them in the right fashion. They each have their own caveats, but right now, Facebook is converting, Realtor.com is converting, Google's converting. You just have to set them up to be approached in the right area, and then you have to nurture and market them the right way. Next week, just so everybody knows, we're breaking this down in this webinar series, where last week we talked about open houses, because open houses are one of the cheapest, easiest ways to go convert leads right now. It'll turn into now money. That's what we need right now in the slower season. We need now money. Who's putting on a jacket, driving through snow to get to it? Not in San Diego, right? But to get to an open house to buy a home. Who's going out and spending time, energy, and effort to get there? This week, we're talking about the lead sources. Next week, we're going to talk about how to turn every single cold call into a warm call. We're going to talk about how delivering value, but we're breaking it down step by step. So each week, there's something valuable that you can build upon. Buyer leads are phenomenal, because they're also seller leads a lot of time. And we don't call them buyer or sellers in our brokerage. We call them homeowners and renters, because that's the category they fit into. They either own a home and they want to sell it, turn it into a rental, buy another investment property, or they're renters, and now we have to teach them about buying a home for the first time. And we market to them accordingly. For buyers, typical buyers, they're low cost, they're easy to get, they're consistent, and it doesn't take a lot of money to get started. We take all those leads, we drop them into Lofty, we make sure every single one gets an immediate follow-up phone call, and we make sure that they all get new listing alerts. And then we have our nurturing campaigns. You can see all the videos on our YouTube channel, the Ponoisms YouTube channel. It's got 30 different videos that we market to them, and you can just, it's all the basics. How to get the best buyer agent, how to sell a home in San Diego, etc. Anybody have any questions on that? And by the way, if we have enough people that are like, hey, I really want to dive into this deeply, then we can do it a follow-up on maybe 2 weeks from now. We can go into each individual source. But from a buyer perspective that also has homeowner opportunities, those are the areas that we tap into because of the cost, the ROI, and the efficiencies of running the system. Anybody got any questions on that?
And these were all for buyers only.
Well, I categorize them for this purpose as buyers, but like we just got a Facebook lead that we closed on that was a seller. They came in as a buying opportunity, but they actually were a seller. that was buying in another state, and we ended up converting him into a seller. So, you know, what we figure is about 50% of the people that are inquiring have a home that they own as
Just
well.
there. Right.
Right.
Okay.
So, you know, like on that, we got the listing from Facebook, and then we got a lead off of the listing on homes.com and sold that buyer another property running the same type of advertising. And that's the beautiful part about lead generation that people miss out on. That's 2 deals in a tough market, and the lead was $12 to generate. And when Diana reached out to him, she didn't say, hey, I got your information because you're looking to buy. She said, hey, how's the home search going? Well, actually, here's the story. Well, let's get you over to our preferred lender. She's licensed in Texas. And by the way, you know, we can give you exactly what your house is going to sell for. We can get you the most amount of money with the least amount of stress on your preferred timeline. Well, I got to sell right now. It's okay to make we purposely make statements that say, hey, we're never going to rush you because we know you're not ready to buy. And then the ones that are ready to buy, they go, actually, I am ready to buy because I want to correct you. It's way better to be corrected going, look, no pressure, no obligation, no commitment. I'm just here to help you. Even if you're not buying today, next year, it's your timeline. And then they're like, well, no, actually, that's way better than going, I'm here to help you to buy. And 85%, 90% are like, I'm not buying. Right? Because we as consumers, we love to buy, we hate to be sold. None of us want to be pressured or pushed. Right? And I use the analogy all the time. When you walk into Nordstrom's, what's up, Anthony? When you walk into Nordstrom's, right? Thanks, man. You're looking for a shirt. You're not buying today, though. You don't need the shirt today, but you're thinking about the shirt because in 3 months you got a wedding and your ex is going to be there. So you want to look super fresh and you want to get an amazing shirt. And you're not ready to buy right now. Sales guy walks up to you, says, hey, welcome to Nordstrom's. What are you looking to buy today? And we say, I'm not looking to buy. I'm just looking. Right? I'm just looking. But at the same time, what we do is we go up to them, and rather than say, hey, I see you're looking to buy a shirt, or I see you're looking to buy something at Nordstrom's, we say, hey, welcome to Nordstrom's. What department are you looking for? I'm looking for a shirt. Great, follow me. I'm going to set up a VIP booth. I'm going to get you the top 3 shirts that are on sale. I'm going to get you the top 3 shirts that are the best sellers, and I'm going to get you a private dressing room. How does that sound? They're like, oh, that sounds cool. So that we start building guild equity. We'll talk about that more next week of how do you build guild equity. So even when they're ignoring you, they're feeling bad for ignoring you, and they'll think of you when they're ready to talk. There's a whole psychology behind it. Any suggestion for generating commercial leads, like getting a hold of a mom and pop self-storage facility? Where do you get the best contact info trying to buy them? Great. All right, so that's a great segue. I couldn't have paid you for a better timing. The best segue is going into seller leads. So to answer your question quickly and directly, you want to find a data source. What we use for data is a company called Fortune Contacts. If you text Ryan, who sent out that text message at like 2 o'clock. If you text him asking for that email address, I'll get it over to you. Fortune Contacts, I would check them and tell them what kind of leads you're looking for. Primarily, they do agent leads, like if you're recruiting agents, they do notice of default, probate, but they're a really good data company. I found their data to be extremely accurate and affordable. I went through numerous companies. You could also go to title records. So in California, you can go to pull title records and run them through different companies like a Cole Realty Resource. You're going to have to just trial and error how to get that information by going through data of who's the property recorded to. I do residential only, Steven. So, you know, it's a different beast, as you know, and I haven't done any, but that's what I would do is I would reach out to Fortune Contacts. And then I always ask the question when somebody says, no, I don't have that data. I say, well, if you knew who had that data, where would they be? Who would you recommend? Who would you recommend? All right. Sellers. Okay. Lots of talk about how to, you know, everybody wants listings. Everybody wants the leverage. Everybody likes working with sellers because you don't have to show property, right? Everybody comes to you. Sellers are really, really, really easy to get. That's a good thing. It's not hard to find them. The bad thing is if it's not hard to find them, lots of competition because, you know, they're easy to find. So there's a couple different sources. for sale by owners, obviously, and there's a lot of data companies that provide that. We like cancel and expireds. Okay, and there's not a lot of cancel and expireds in our marketplace. Ryan, can you text Steven?
Yes.
It's last name is Smulon. We like cancel and expireds. The reason why we like cancel and expireds, think about it from what we talked about. There's short-term seller leads, there's long-term seller leads, right? A lot of times those home evaluation leads, hey, if you want a free CMA, let me know. One, they could be trying to refinance. Two, they could be just trying to be nosy neighbors, all that stuff. Three, oftentimes you're only going to get an email address, which then is very difficult to hunt down. It's inefficient. The beautiful thing about cancel and expireds is that, and we've got the whole system, the whole course, this like 30 video course that I was selling a while back that we train the agents on. But like, there's literally like there's 3, 4, 5 different companies. Here's what I found with seller leads that are some of the decisions. Going back to my quantity and quality of lead, right? Vulcan 7 is the highest quality of data, meaning the best contact information. On every lead, you probably get 4 to 5 different phone numbers, and at least one of those phone numbers on 100% of the files is a good lead. Okay. There are so many agents out there right now. There are so many agents out there right now that work cancel and expireds, and they don't understand the process. So they go to call the leads and they're like, 4 of these leads, 4 of these phone numbers, it was their cousin, it was their mother, it was their ex-husband, it was all these things. Who cares? One of those leads is always them, and it gets automatically delivered to your inbox every single day. And you don't have to lift, you don't have to hunt, you just have to call. Okay, there is no perfect source out there where you get one phone number and 100% of the time it's their seller. Vulcan 7 has a single line dialer included into it. They have a great functionality. I have an agent that makes a few hundred calls every single week and more on that. And he has success with lots and lots and lots of conversations, but they're also relatively expensive in the space. I pay $300 a month and have been for 6 or 7 years because the data is amazing and it's on autopilot for $300 a month. And think about this, they go, that's expensive. Well, we get about 500 leads a month. Even in our tough market, we get about 500 leads a month. We get anywhere from 15 to 20, 30 a day. And on the first of the month, every month, we get anywhere from 50 to 80. And the first of the year, because realtors make the last day the contract expiration, on the first of the year, we get 300-400. My first 4 years in real estate, maybe it was 3, but my first 3 or 4 real estate years in real estate, I worked every day on January 1st, and I always got 2 listings. Now, there were definitely some people that were like, screaming at me because they were hungover, they partied late, and I was calling them at 8:30 in the morning on January 1st, and they were calling me crazy. There was also a bunch of people that was like, holy smokes, you're calling me at 8:30 on January 1st? I'm like, yeah, you should see what I do when I get the listing. Right? Right? Because people want to work with people to get stuff done. And so it sets the impression. And so it goes back to the level of commitment, right? Like for me, if I say I'm going to do something, I tell my wife about it, and I never want to be a chump to her, so I'm gonna go do it. Michelle will let me know. She don't hesitate. So they're the best. Now you may not have a $300 budget because we also use a Mojo triple line dialer and have all the leads drop into there so we can work more efficiently and we can hit more leads quickly. The next step down is like a Red X. Red X is another solution. They've got a dialer included in it. It's like $175 when you get their full package, where you get seller leads, you get FSBO leads, you get, and by the way, I don't make a penny from any of these companies. None of these companies pay me to promote. I do have an affiliate link with Vulcan, but I've never made a penny off them because I just tell people and say, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I use. My Plus Leads. My Plus Leads is another one. They're a little bit cheaper. They're $50. They're a great solution if you're going to test it out. They're like $50-$60. I would do one of those 3. You may say, Josh, I want to do cancel and expireds and I don't have any money. Well, A, you can partner up with a brokerage that has it, or B, you could call your title company And as much as your title company in California, they all say we're not allowed to provide you any value, almost all of them will say, hey, I can go get you the data from one of our sources and send it to you. The challenge with that is administrative tasks crush sales momentum. If I got to wake up every day and start my day with data entry, it just messes up my mojo. Like, because then I got to get the list. I got to ask somebody else to get the list. They oftentimes can't get me the list with, when I want. They're busy. I'm depending on them. I'm not getting it on time. I got to ask them the next day. There's just so much. Mojo, it's freaking amazing, Ivan. Mojo I've had for 7 years. The interface is amazing. For $25 a month, you can have all the calls recorded so that you can do live call coaching. That's what our Thursdays at 2 p.m. is. I literally listen to recorded calls of people making cancel and expired calls and be like, see how he said that? You should have gone there. Or, hey, they said this. You should have asked this question. Mojo also super intuitive to use, and it also integrates with Zapier. Zapier is your administration. I mean, you know what Zapier is, but for everybody else that you only use it for the dialer and the interface, you get data. Correct. So here's what I've learned from working in software for all those years. Everybody listens to realtors and says, all right, one of my favorite things, side note, was Steve Jobs. They said, hey, you asked, the customer's always right. And he said, well, I can assure you whoever said that was a customer, right? Like the customer isn't always right. And I also loved what like Henry Ford said. They're like, if you asked the customer what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. I give you those analogies, right? Because all of the real estate companies, they listen to realtors even when they shouldn't. So for example, all these companies are like, realtors want the one-stop shop. They want one software. They want everything in one place. Well, there's no company on the planet. A dialer is a full-time company. A data company is a full-time company. A CRM company is a full-time company. They all require a full company of resources. So what ends up happening is they become average at everything, great at nothing. And so even though, and I laugh a little bit because sometimes we're like, well, I don't want to have to log into other things. I just leave the tab open and I save my password. I got to do 2 clicks. Like I am willing to do 2 clicks every day to have the best product in their field. And then they all connect together through Zapier. So I use Vulcan. I have one agent that uses the Vulcan dialer. And then I have the other agents that use the Mojo, but I use Vulcan automatically drops all the data every single day. You wake up, they're fresh, they're integrated the moment data entry, no nothing, no nada. And all the leads go right into it. You click it, you dial, you're done. A process that takes some agents 2, 3, 4 hours takes us 40 minutes, which is also why it's easier to work hard. If you got to do a job for 4 hours or you can do something for 40 minutes, it's a no-brainer, right? And so we have all the leads from Vulcan drop into Mojo. I've tried Mojo's data. It's junk. Why? They're not a data company. They're a dialer company. So we have the best dialer with the best data. RedX is a solid dialer with solid data. That's that budget option. I'm at $475 for a triple line dialer, a call recorder, and the data. I'm not encouraging everybody to go out and do that, but for $175 a month, you can get, and there's a lot of people that will partner up with you too, right? Like get creative. Like if there's an agent in your office, there's a lot of people that want to go after sellers. Go up to them and say, look, let's go ahead and partner up. Let's split it, because let's be real. You're not going to call 20, 30 hours a week on this thing. You might call 1 or 2 hours a day. And I might want to call in the morning. They might want to call in the afternoon. By the way, the best time to dial cancel and expire data, without question. I've tried it a million different ways. There's a few different times. For all new expireds, it's 8 o'clock on the dot. And when I say on the dot, I mean sharp. I mean, think about Black Friday. You don't show up to Black Friday. If the store's open at 5, you don't show up at 5:05. The stuff's gone. The good stuff's gone. You don't show up at 5:05. And the reason why 8 o'clock is so important is because there's a bunch of competition. So if you show up at 8:10, you're the 7th or 8th person or 5th person that's talking to them, which means you're not punctual. You're not the most professional. You're the slow realtor. Nobody wants to work with the slow realtor. They already had the slow realtor, which is why I'm on the phone with them. One of my favorite things to joke about when I'm not on the phone is I laugh when the sellers of cancel and expires like, I'm good, I'm all set, there's no problems. I'm like, that's not true. You're on the list of people with problems. I can't get your number unless there was a problem. You were supposed to sell. You're not fine. You're lying. You're a liar. I never say that, right? But I just have fun with it of like, no, sir, how'd you get my number? Well, you're on the list of people with problems. I buy that list every day. I'm a problem solver. Anyway, that's the best source. 8 a.m. call fresh. And then we've also got a script that, and we'll teach you some of this stuff next week, but we've also got the script that we change our script at 8:10. Why? Because there's an elephant in the room. They've had 7 or 8, 9, 10 calls. If I'm on the call with somebody at 8 o'clock from 8 to 8:10, and I'm talking to a legitimate seller, well, then when the dialer hangs up and it goes to the next line, now I'm back in line. I went in to Best Buy. I got the super deal on the TV. They made me get back in line. I got to change up my approach. I got to change my strategy up. And so we've got that where we address the elephant in the room. I'll give you the punchline. The punchline is when we reach out to them, we're like, hey, listen, again, going back to Facebook, right? We already know you're not ready to buy. So when we talk to the people that are 10 minutes in, we're like, hey, listen, we already know you got 7, 8, 9, 10 calls. And we lean in the call. And we're like, and I bet they're even hiding in your bushes right now. Are they hanging from the tailpipe as you're driving? These realtors are crazy. Anyway, what's the story with the house, right? So we switch it up and we approach them. But best times to call cancel expired, 8 a.m. fresh, 12 to 1, 4 to 7, Monday through Friday. All the times that they're either before work, at lunch, or after work. Catch them in traffic. They got nothing else to do. And Saturdays and Sundays are amazing. Saturdays and Sundays are amazing. Why? Because they're in weekend mode, a lot of them. They're in chill mode. They're thinking about housing. They're thinking about searching. Plus, it shows you work hard. Working on a weekend. People like that. Anybody have any questions on that? And again, we'll cover how to convert this stuff. And next week there's 3 bullet points we're covering. 1, how to turn every cold call into a warm call. 2, how to turn another agent's trash into treasure. Right? You know that saying, one agent's trash is another agent's treasure. It applies. That's the saying, right? It applies to leads. I love other agents' trashy leads. They're great. And then the last one is how to deliver value that they can commit to. What times do you call on the weekend? I always called around, so on weekdays, I always called at 8. On weekends, I called at 9. I know some agents that call at 8 that have success. For me personally, and it's more, Angie, about what your mindset is, right? So for example, I remember I was coaching this one agent and I told her call leads at 8 a.m. She said, I would never call a lead at 8 a.m. I said, why? She goes, I hate getting phone calls at 8 a.m. And I said, great. Do you think you're the only type of personality out there? She said, well, no. I said, because I can tell you for a fact, there have been listings that I got because I called at 8 a.m. on the dot. And they were like, holy smokes, you're the first one to call me 8 a.m. You're Mr. Punctual. Early bird gets the worm, right? And so her mindset, though, was feeling awkward, feeling uncomfortable, doing with something she didn't agree with. So then she would then speak in that tone, which would then show people she wasn't comfortable, not confident, AKA not good at what you're doing. And she would just attract that negativity, and it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. So for me, I wanted to let people have time with the kids, have time with the coffee, get settled, and then call. But I'm also a lot, right? Like I hit people in the face with energy. So I wanted to give them a minute. That was where my mindset was at. But I would do it anywhere from 9 to 1. Mainly because I didn't want to work at 5 o'clock on a Saturday. Right? I didn't want to make cold calls on Saturday afternoon. I like to get the stuff that we don't like doing done quick. That book, Eat the Frog, get it out of the way. I have some people that love calling at the end of the day. They love it because they find that people love talking at the end of the day. And guess what? They end up talking to people that love talking at the end of the day, right? I've always believed that salespeople and Jedis were one and the same. Whatever you think and believe is typically what happens in your experience, which is the same reason why most real estate agents don't have success with leads because they've already decided that Facebook leads suck, these leads suck, the only leads that are worthy are referrals, blah, 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 blah. I literally was at the meeting when Keller Williams decided, forget this. We're not going to try to teach people this anymore. We're not going to try to convince them anymore. We're just going to show them that just go after your referrals. Just go after your referrals. Going after your referrals is okay. I'm not hating on referrals. I'm not hating on Keller Williams. I was there for 2.5 years. It was a very instrumental part of my growth. I'm not hating on anybody. But what I am saying that I've watched and everybody in this market is experiencing, if you rely on one pillar for your business, referrals only, your sales will be at the mercy of the market. When you are investing in lead generation and investing in your skills and your systems and your processes, the market doesn't matter. It can influence it. It cannot dictate it. Again, our company's going to double in size while I'm selling less homes because the agents are generating more leads and they're generating more skills, or they're increasing their skills and they're refining their processes. In this market, we need to cut our costs, invest in the right lead sources, and increase our skills. If you focus on those things, you're going to win. Yeah, absolutely. You have to. All right. Last but not least, social leads. Social leads and referrals I put in the same category. Thank you, Ivan. Man, when we had that conversation that day and we were launching this webinar and when you were talking about this is what I need to do to grow my business, I was like, bro, this is exactly why we're doing this. This is, to me, part of why I'm doing this is I have a chip on my shoulder. I can't tell you how many people have told me that I'm taking the slow and wrong approach because it's extremely difficult to develop salespeople. And they're right. It takes a long time, more than 3 months, to develop a sales rep and develop a business owner. But the people that can focus on those skills, I always say, man, if everybody's so amazing at training and everybody's working on the right things, why do 80% of agents fail? Why do 20% of the people do 80% of the business, right? There's a gap in the industry where people are not diving deep into this, and it's not their fault. I mean, not many people want to get tortured at a lead gen software company for 8 years for the sake of a bigger purpose. I've learned a thing. It's like that State Farm commercial. I've learned a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. I just love that line for some reason.
It works with everything.
It works with everything, right? How do you know that, Josh? Well, I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. All right, so moving on to social. Here's the thing. When I first opened the brokerage, when I first started doing my own branding, Ivan, this is going to hit home with you. When I first started saying, okay, I want to go out, and it's like I could say in an audience of 1,000 people, raise your hand if you want to build a brand where people just see your content, they call you, they love you, they trust you, they like you, and the business just comes to you. Raise your hand if you want to do that. Everybody raise their hand. And there's all these coaches and all these gurus being like, do some video. It's going to work for you 24/7 and all that stuff. Going back to what I originally said. Building an audience through social to create hand-raising leads is not short-term money. It's long-term money. How do you know that, Josh? Well, I made a YouTube channel with 215 videos giving away all the best content, all my gems, giving away everything I've ever done. I've invested $20,000 into it. I've worked with people that used to work with Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. I have delivered above average content. I think you guys will agree. And I barely made any money from it. After 2 years, now it's starting to turn. Now it's starting to work. Where social becomes a powerful tool to create leads is that it will change your perspective. It'll change the perspective of you and your business to all of your sphere of influence and the people that know you. When I started doing video, I'll give you an example. So I worked at the Altman Brothers $1 Million Listing LA for a little while. I was helping them launch their San Diego location and try to get that off the ground. and I was doing a lot of video. I was the same level of success or even less successful, but everybody in my sphere of influence thought I was killing it. Man, you're killing it with those videos, those how-to videos. Man, your business is blowing up. And so what would happen is conversations would be created naturally around me that normally wouldn't. So for example, first few years I'm in real estate, I'd walk into the hockey locker room, I'd walk into a birthday party. Nobody would ever bring up real estate to me. So I'd look for that weird opportunity where I'm like, you know, this reminds me of buying homes, you know, like I'd look for a way to create a conversation, which was always awkward. What happens when you start doing social and video on Instagram and all these other things is when you do it consistently, you start walking in and people start going, I like that content, man. That was a good video. How's business going? It gives them a way to engage. And so I say that because there is no shortcutting success to where, you know, you're one video away from never having to prospect again. You're one video away from never having to lead gen. And so keep that in mind. Social is a great way to elevate your sphere of influence. It's a way to highlight conversations. But again, if you're looking for short-term ROI, where you can get leads of people that are motivated and qualified, the main areas are internet leads, canceled and expired, open houses, those areas. Okay, next week. Okay, a couple resources for people. You can find my YouTube channel. I've got 213 videos. They're on all of these topics. I've got on buying leads, CRMs, processes, you name it, it's on there. Okay, you can go there, like, subscribe, comment. We do these webinars every Wednesday at 2 p.m. We also do a webinar for building teams and building offices every Thursday at 1 p.m. If you want the Facebook script and stuff, just wait till next week. Next week, we're literally going to cover those 3 topics of, okay, these are the lead sources. I'm going to give you the picture of clarity. So it's like, okay, I know where to get the leads. Now we got to know how to convert them so you can see the big picture before you go invest in money and stuff. And we'll be making sure that we continue to roll that out. Does anybody have any questions or any feedback? Sweet. We'll send out an email with the replay. Each week, we're going to have the replay uploaded. Feel free to share it with people. Feel free to invite people. Also, if you're in San Diego and you want to come into the office and see this stuff in person, we've got space here to come hang out in person. We'd love to see people here. We'd love to get face-to-face. And we can make it a kind of a workshop as well. So we'll see you guys next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Have a phenomenal week. Be well.